Where do owls like to stay on vacation?
Where?
A hotel.
Uh, hello, everybody. Got so
W-
distracted by that joke, actually. Things were going
What
off on my
up?
computer.
What up,
Hello.
everybody?
This is also our second take, our first ever second take.
Our first ever retake.
It took 9 episodes.
That's that's pretty
That's
good.
solid. Well,
That's pretty good.
maybe I'll just put that beginning at the end of this next episode, but that involves some editing. So I don't know.
We
We'll
don't do
see.
that.
We
We
don't
don't
do
do.
that. It's clear that we're not supposed to edit. So who
If
knows?
we ever messed up in the middle of an episode, we would literally have to start over.
Yeah, it's possible though. My computer did like a whole, like when we stream, sometimes we hear it.
Yep.
It's possible that may be in the intro because I have it's capturing the Discord, so it may go
Yeah.
so whatever. Hey, if you get that, okay. I don't know. I don't. You're not lucky. You don't win anything. It's just my computer wanted to do
If you
something.
get that, you heard it.
Yep.
So good job. You have
Congrats. Yeah.
ears. Like you have functioning ears.
Yep. So today.
But I definitely heard it though. I heard it in my earbuds.
Oh, you heard it too? Well,
Oh yeah.
whatever. You're welcome, everybody, or not welcome. Not sure. We're still not really sure how that goes, but we did it, unedited, and all that unedited. It's gonna be there.
All this still unedited.
Yep, not touching it.
Nope.
What else can we do that we want to edit but we won't? All right. So today,
Let's get started.
yeah, in normal, well, in 50% Falboyz fashion, we didn't have anything planned for this episode.
This is true. But
Um, yeah,
in 100% Falboyz fashion, we figured it out.
yeah, and I think we'll pull it through. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I thought about it barely. I feel like I'm gonna let you
My
like
well,
motivate me.
yeah, I got you. My thinking about it was I sent it to you.
Yeah.
2 hours later, you thumbs up
Yep.
the text message. That's when I remembered I sent it to you,
Oh, great.
and I ran it by my wife, like
Uh
the
huh.
topic, and she goes, "That's actually a fun topic because it gives a little bit of history, and then also like a little bit of goals and aspiration for yourself." So I was like,
Okay.
"Oh, okay.
Well,
Then
we'll
you know
see
what?
if we can pull that off.
With that in mind, we could run with it.
Okay.
Like that was enough.
I wish you told me that 2 hours ago because
That
maybe I'd
was
be a little more thinking about it. But who
we were
knows?
talking about other things,
Okay. Well, great. All right.
and that
Well,
really that happened like an hour ago, I
great.
guess. Really,
Well, you could have dropped a line, but whatever. Go first. We're gonna talk about vacations.
we're
So,
gonna talk about
um,
vacation a little
and
bit.
aspects of them.
You know, I would say everyone goes on vacation. Not everyone goes on vacations, but you know, I was thinking like what's one of your favorite vacations from the past or like from like your childhood? If you were a standard every year you do the same like vacation tradition or not or travel, whatever. My family was very traditional in that sense. Growing up, we would do a lot of trips to Willow Valley
Hmm.
for our vacations. Sometimes they were short because we were all super busy. So sometimes they were just extended weekends. But I love those. Like I miss those. I know even all of us went up a few years ago,
Yeah.
and that was a lot of fun. Um, so and then like for me, one of my favorite vacation esques would be when I graduated high school. My parents sent me to Florida with my best friend from childhood
Okay.
for 10 days
Jeez, that's long
because
and for anything, let
we
alone when you just
graduated.
graduated high school.
We graduated at the same time, um, and we were going with his mom, and like he has a ton of family down there, and that was my graduation surprise, was like, "Hey, you're going away."
Oh, you mean the
Uh,
surprise wasn't just that you actually got to graduate and you made it
the
all the
sur
way through?
the surprise for me was that they let me walk at
Yeah.
graduation. That's besides the point. That's a no, not
Surprise,
today.
here's your diploma. You did
Um,
okay.
but they're like, "You're going, you're gonna be there for, like" I think it's, like, 8 or 9 nights. It ended up being a little bit longer, and, like, we got to pick everything we wanted to do on that trip.
Jeez. Yeah.
So, we got Universal passes, we saw Blue Man Group, we went to Busch Gardens, went to SeaWorld, and, like, all the parks we went to, we got, like, the meal
And that's
passes,
probably back when SeaWorld was not so cool. Like They
It
were,
was
what
like
was the name of that documentary? Blackfish or something?
yeah,
It was
it was
that was in the cusps of it
yeah,
probably.
it was in the cut, and a lot of stuff was closed and under renovations, but, like, we still got to do so many things,
Yeah.
and the fact that it was, like, us, it was, like for to, like, me and, Mikey was, like, "Yeah, we're adults." Like, "No, we're 17. We're a
Yeah.
bunch of idiots." But, like like, we got to drive like, we drove down, and that was, like, my first time being a driver going
Mhm.
down,
Mhm.
and I just remember when my mom was leaving, she's like, "You just got your license, you're not driving on this trip." An hour later, I was like, "Let's go." Like, I was like, "My mom's not here." Like, "Let's go." And it was just so much fun. Just, like, being free and, like, pretending like money wasn't a worry.
Sure.
Uh
Yeah, well, cuz it wasn't your money, it was
'Cause it
somebody
wasn't
else's
my
money.
money, it was literally everyone else's money,
Yeah.
everyone's gift for me. Cause like, everyone in the family knew that I was going on this trip, so everyone's graduation present was, like, money for my trip.
Yeah.
So, like, I didn't have to I think none of the money came out of my pocket, and I
Yeah.
got to do all these things, and it was, like I mean, you're talking 12 years ago, 13 years ago. It was a little bit more affordable back then. Like,
Oh, yeah.
there's no way I could afford that trip right now.
Yeah.
Like, but that was, like, one of my favorite trips growing up.
I feel like I was very fortunate. Like my mom was definitely somebody who my mom's love language is gift giving, and part of that gift giving is making sure that we were always going on vacation. So we went on like so many vacations. I remember going to Disney twice though with my family, and I only remember the date because it's back when you recorded things on VHSs, and we had two gold VHSs, and
Ooh,
it
the
said
gold
Disney
ones.
'96, and me and my sister used to watch it all the time. There were some funny things in there that I wish we still had today because I would love to watch them to be like, man, that trip was great, and especially now when I take my kids there now, it'd be really cool to see one the difference, and also like my I know how hard my parents had to work to take me to Disney, and it's exactly what we do. We The reason why we were able to always go on trips is because my mom doesn't like planes. So we drove everywhere. I mean, we
Everywhere.
drove to Ohio, we drove to Tennessee, we drove to Florida, we drove to Boston. We've driven all over the place within
Yeah,
certain range. We're not. My mom
I
can
re
only sit in the car for so long. So
I remember, like, some of those trips, like, for you like, for your family, you'd be like, "Oh, we're
yeah,
driving to this place." I was like, "Why would you do that drive?" Like,
yeah.
that is a ridiculous
Like
drive.
I know a flight to Ohio is like 45 minutes, but we're gonna sit in a car for 9 hours just to drive there.
Yeah.
But we did it multiple times. So I don't know which one was my favorite. Disney is obviously one that sticks out on my brain. Um, we went to Myrtle Beach, I think maybe two times in a row. And the second time we went, we actually got evacuated because there was a hurricane or whatever. And we sat in traffic for 24 hours before
Oh
we
my
were able to actually leave. So
oh,
that
no,
one, I
no.
remember my dad like pulling over at like a rest stop because he needed to sleep. And I'd be like, oh no, we just got to go home. No, like now as an adult,
Now as an adult.
100% I'm doing that. Um,
Yeah. Oh my
but
god,
that one I
that
think we
is
tried to do 3 times, and that one didn't really repeat well the 3rd time. The only one that we've ever repeated is Wildwood since my childhood, and we still do it to this day with my parents, my sister, and now with my wife and kids. So
yeah.
Wildwood
It
is our
I've
place
even
to be.
gone on some of those trips,
Yeah,
like,
I love
for
it
the same weekend you guys go down.
because you go down so often. It's like New Jersey. It's the furthest I could. We're literally the top of New Jersey, and there it's the bottom of New Jersey. So
Yeah.
it's the opposite end. But every time you go, we find something new to do, and you don't necessarily need to spend money. Like you're just like, oh, let's go walk these stores or whatever. Like we've never been in this area, and that to me is the most fun. So
That's one of the things I love about Wildwood and, like, the Cape area there is that, like, it's different and it's far enough from home to feel different,
hmm
but also very homey.
yeah,
Like, it's a very homey community, and I love that's one of, like, my favorite things, like, that I look forward to in vacations,
yeah,
is, like, that hominess where it's, like, you know you're not home, you're happy you're not home, you're happy you're at a change of scenery, but it still feels, like, cozy, and I always get that vibe when I'm down in Wildwood or, like,
yeah.
at the Cape.
Especially because I mean you've been there so long. Like if I'm at a hotel and it's like, oh, meet me at the Acme, I know exactly where I'm going. I don't
Exactly.
need.
I know
It is
exactly what that
literally
is.
a second home. Like I know all the roads. Like it's fine.
And it's funny because like that's like I mean, granted for us, it's literally a straight line,
Yeah,
and then you make a left turn, and then you drive straight, and then you make a right turn.
yeah.
Like that's literally the
How you get there?
directions to
Yes.
Wildwood. Like so,
You
like
go
that's the
down,
other
you
thing I
make a
love.
right. That's what you do.
It's like that's what I love about it. He's like, you go straight,
Yeah,
at the beach balls, turn,
yeah, exactly.
depending on what motel you're staying at.
Yep.
Like, goodbye. Like, it's so easy. Um, if a similar vacation, I guess, feeling to that I had was when a few years back, my family stayed. We got a house in Dennis in Massachusetts,
Hmm.
and I loved that trip. I still think about that house all the time. That is like one trip that I would like repeat in a heartbeat. Um, because there was just so much stuff to do down there. It literally just reminded me of like being in like Wildwood area,
Yeah,
just in Massachusetts,
yeah.
like just the Massachusetts side. You
I've
replace
never, I've never
re-
been there, but is that where I sent Lizette flowers?
that's where
Nice.
you sent flowers to.
Yeah,
That's where you
pip
sent
pip.
flowers to. Yeah.
So
Just
here's the
remember.
story. It was right before Lizette and I started dating. We were talking, but we weren't dating. And I believe I asked her out maybe a few days before. Um, and she had gone up to Massachusetts with her family, and I was like, I have no idea where she's staying, but it's her birthday, and I want to do something. I want to do something for her. It's our first. We've only been dating for 6 days, but I already know that I'm pretty deep into this, and it'd be really cool if I did something different. So I texted Josh to say that like we never texted before.
No,
Rarely, if
it
anything.
was
We did not have
you
the relationship we currently
in
have.
those days.
This
You
was
texting
15
me
years ago.
was like, "Hey, you left something at my house," or "I'm
Yeah.
picking you up instead of my mom." Like
Yeah.
those were literally the
This
text
is 15
messages.
years
Like,
ago, so it's growth, but I was like, dude, what's the address? And I don't even know if you knew. I think you asked out
no,
loud, like, where are we?
we were out to dinner. We were out to eat. We were eating, and I looked at Waltz, and I was like, "Do you know the address to the house?" And she goes, "Why would I know the address to the house?" So she had asked like someone else because like she was was the quick thinker in this one
Hmm.
because
Well, thank God. I wish I texted her.
we had friends and family
Yeah.
out in Mass. So she very quickly was like, "Hey, what's the address? So and so wants to see how far they are because they might come by for
Ah,
a visit." And immediately, like three people pull out the address,
yeah.
and I was just like, "Boss move right there,
Yeah.
like right there." Because I was just like, "I don't know where we are. Like, when we're out to eat, you want the address to the restaurant we're
Yeah.
at? Like, where? What do you mean? What's
Well,
the
I also
address?"
feel like this is a slight redemption story from the last episode where I talked about buying Lizette flowers, and I didn't like them, and she didn't like them. So this
Yep.
is like a full circle. I got her flowers. She liked them. I think at that point you guys had just found out we were dating. And correct me if I'm wrong. I believe everyone said, "Hey Lizette, don't screw this up."
Um, I'm pretty sure my response was, "I told you this was gonna happen. Thanks for accepting it," or something like that. Because, and it was funny because in the beginning of that trip, you had come up, and I was like,
Mhm.
"Well, you guys have been together for a while now," and Lizette just walked away. Like we were playing a game, and she just walked. She's like, "No," and just walked away. Like she was still trying to hide it. And
Well,
then you sent
yeah. At
flowers, and
that
then you,
point, I think let's say it was July, right? And we started hanging out in March. So March, April, May, June, July. So 5 months. But I
yeah,
mean, I not that I'd only known her for 5 months. Everybody, our families have been friends for a very long time. So we have
I
known each
shipped
other.
this when I was like 12. So
Apparently, a few people did, um, and none of us saw it. But thank God, because um, I don't know what
it
I
happened when it needed to happen.
it 100% happened
Timing
when it
was
needed to
right.
happen because here's another if I was not with Lizette, I would have a lot more of these toys, but I'd also be a lot more lonely. So I don't know how happy I would be in my life. But either way, I
Uh,
digress. What were
yes.
we talking
Uh,
about?
Vacation. So,
So yeah, Dennis.
So, uh, yeah, that trip was great. I would do that again with with the family and everything too,
Yeah.
and obviously with like the growth of family. I think that would be a cool trip.
I've only been to Boston once, and I went with
I
my
drove a duck.
family.
I drove the duck boat car thing,
I
and that was
remember
awesome.
kind of wanting to do it, but also being terrified of that duck,
I
dude.
remember not wanting to do it, and then we take the bus tour. We're sitting there, and the driver dude was like, "You want to take the wheel?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do." But the whole time I was like, "This is stupid," and then I did it, and I was like, "This is amazing."
Were you driving in the water or on the road?
In the water,
Oh, on chart. Oh man, he gave up. He was like, whatever, dude. Flip this duck.
yeah,
I'm done.
yeah, in the water, in the water. It was really cool. I had my license for like a month, like
Jeez. Um, what? I mean, we still go to Wildwood, so I think that's still my current one. Uh, I guess the one that I really like though, and this is I'm going to obviously I've mentioned Disney once before, and I'm going to mention it again. Uh, I think was our honeymoon. We went to Disneyland for 10
yeah,
days, which is the
yeah,
longest I've ever been away. 10 days is max. Um, and the reason we picked it is because Lizette and I are busy people. So we figured, hey, let's go to Disneyland, place we've never been, but also we can just run around in the park and pretend we're busy, but we're actually just having fun. So it was really like a nice juxtaposition
yeah.
of everything. But I mean, we went in Adventureland for 5 days. We did Universal. We bought the pass, so we did everything in one day. We saw Conan O'Brien. We went to Hollywood. Um, what else did we went to Legoland. I don't think they were supposed to let us in because we don't have kids, or maybe it was right before that. Um,
Yeah, that's a newer thing.
yeah, so it was that day. I don't know what day. It might have been like day 8 or whatever. Um, we would eat breakfast in the hotel. Like I would just eat fruit. So like, yeah, this is so good. I never eat breakfast, but I'll eat this. And we go to Legoland that day, and I'm like, babe, I don't feel good. She's like, oh, just eat some food. I'm like, but I already ate. So she's like, eat this, and I'm eating like hummus and salami and stuff. I'm like, this is not good. Like, this is not doing it for me. So we went in, we rode every single ride, like whatever went upside down, whatever went fast, multiple times. So that's 8 o'clock in the morning. It's now 5 p.m. and I'm like, we're driving, and I'm like, babe, I gotta pull over. I throw up for the first time in like I don't know
God knows how long.
20
Yeah.
years. Is the first time I threw up, and I'm like throwing up, and she comes out of the car, but she knew not to really come to me. So I go, oh, I like give her the stop, like don't come over here. Like this is our
Like
honeymoon. I'm embarrassed.
like,
So I'm like throwing
"Not
up,
yet. We haven't been married long enough for you to see this."
and then I'm like, all right, let me get some water. And I'm like, can you drive? She's like, yeah. I'm like, all right. I'm like, I feel great. Like, all I needed was that. I just threw up melon or whatever. So, whatever that was, I had like, I don't know if it was like it wasn't food poisoning, but
Fetus,
whatever it was just messed in my
fetus
belly so bad. But it took me
all day
all
long.
day to throw it up. If I had thrown it up at 9 a.m., I would have
You
rode
would
the
have been fine.
rides even crazier. But instead, I was nauseous all day. And after I threw up, Lizette felt so bad because she was like, "Oh my god, you weren't lying." I was like, "No, I'm not lying. Like I'm not trying to make it up. I'm in Legoland. I'm not trying to like I don't want to ride whatever kid
I don't
ride
wanna
this
get in
is."
Legoland,
Yeah,
like, I'm
freaking
a big
stupid.
kid.
Either way,
Uh,
Disneyland was great. I love it. That I guess it was like the coolest thing because it was honeymoon. We didn't have kids, so that makes
yeah,
life so much easier. I love my children, but also I like vacationing when they're not there, and that has never happened. I go to work, like I go to Vegas for work. They're not there. It's not really a vacation. It's not one that I can enjoy without them.
yeah,
I'm
'cause
not
it's still
like
work
doing.
too.
It's 100% work, but
Uh, my favorite vacation as an adult, I would have to ag agree in the category of would be my honeymoon. It was just so different,
yeah,
for
it's
me,
just
like,
different feeling.
we it took us I don't know, it took me months to plan our honeymoon and to figure that out, and it ended up being so simple,
Hmm.
but also, like, not at the same time. So we went up to Maine, scored this Airbnb in the middle of nowhere.
In Maine, that
And like
sounds terrifying.
I was gonna say it sounds terrifying. Like it was on like there was hiking trails there, there was all this stuff, but at the same time, as much as it felt so secluded, it was 4 minutes away from town
Okay.
driving. So like, we needed to go to the store, we needed to do whatever. Like everything was like right there, but it was also close enough to like bigger cities in Maine that every day we would do like a 20-minute drive and just explore Maine, different stores, different thrift shops, different bakeries, different whatever. Like, and then you're not a seafood person,
Nope.
but me and Haley love seafood. Literally seafood every day, and it was like the freshest seafood, and
It better be.
so cheap in comparison to seafood you would get down here.
Well, yeah,
Like the
you're literally
quality,
just you might as well
like
just pick it right out of the
l-
water.
like well, they were like
Yeah.
literally like where your car is parked from where you're sitting right now is where the lobster were coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it was just incredible. I would do that trip 100 times over.
Yeah.
Um, the Airbnb had like a sauna, it had a hot tub. It was like the nicest host ever. She's like a retired doctor, and she lived on the property, but in another house. And you would just see her like, picking fresh fruit and stuff from the garden and like all that stuff. I'm like, what do you guys need? You want this? You want that? Like, no, we're just chilling. She's like, all right, I'll leave it alone. Like, do you want to pet the cat? I'm like, no. I mean, Haley did obviously, but I didn't. Like, I
Yeah,
don't
of course.
uh, but like, I was like, hey, I saw like on your Airbnb post that your masseuse that comes to the house isn't available. Is there any where local that you would recommend? And she's like, I'm not really sure. Personally, hold on. And like 20 minutes later, she had two recommendations with pre-booked appointments for us.
That's awesome.
She's like, just call and confirm the appointment that works best for you. And I was like, okay, like easy. Like, then we got massages, all that stuff. It was just so cool. And like found a bunch of stuff. We went to Stephen King's house because we weren't far from there. We were like a half hour away. And then like even like the airport had great food, like the airport restaurant. We got like surf and turf like before our flight home. I was like, first off, how is a steak and lobster dinner like an eighth of the price of like the buttered roll I had in Newark Airport?
Yeah, really.
But whatever. And a lot of history out there too. I like a little bit of history and like that, like museums and stuff. I love that.
Yeah.
Museums and like art galleries, all that. Love that. Tell me to read a history book.
No.
No. But like
Nope.
if I get to see history like that, I love it. So we went to two museums. It was just really cool. I feel like
We no good. Sorry.
I was gonna say I feel like something along those lines would be like where I would derive like a perfect vacation from.
Yeah.
Those that type of situation.
I feel like now. I mean, I love Airbnb. We use it all the time. I have like very few complaints. Um, but 10 years ago, if Airbnb was like more popular or if we used it, 100% we would have definitely found one in Disneyland. 'Cause we stayed at like a Marriott Courtyard, um, and it ended up being not too far from Disneyland, but it was, let's just say we walked to Disneyland a few times, and it was just far enough to where I'm like, this is a stupid walk. We shouldn't have done this because we were already
Yeah.
walking all day. Like, especially
Yeah.
like the walk home was just the worst. But
Yeah.
the Airbnbs, I love. I know every time we look out, we usually look for an Airbnb first, just because it's more of, you can get a little more of the culture no matter where you are, and
Yeah,
that's
I was
what
gonna
is
say you
really
get a little bit
nice.
more of like the
Yeah,
culture and also like you're literally like in a home for the most part.
yeah,
So it's like has that home like I know it's not everyone's ideal, but I love the fact that even when I was in Maine or even, when we were at like the bachelor party, like the Airbnbs or down in DC, that house we got in like outside of DC, like we got to appreciate the area that we were, but like also make a home cooked meal
yeah,
and like do the simple like I could relax and have my cup of coffee here and whatever, and it's not
yeah,
like a crappy hotel room pot of
yeah.
coffee type deal. Like those little things, like so you kind of get like the best of both worlds.
No, make
So
it's
that's
so much
awesome.
better. Guys, that leads us to our next point. Airbnb 20% off of the podcast. Just promo
Imagine.
code the podcast.
God, I wish
One day. Um,
one day.
no, and the last one that we want to talk about was like future or maybe ideal perfect vacations. And in the future, my mom has been wanting to go to Italy forever, so we're trying to make a family trip out of it. my children will not shut up about it. So it's literally like, don't it's we're like, oh, we need to save money for Italy because we don't know how much it's gonna be just yet. Granted, we have like probably 2 years to save, so we'll be
Yeah.
fine. But the little one is like, oh, we can't have McDonald's. You gotta save for Italy. I'm like, yo, chill. I can afford $20 like right now. Or I'm like,
From
you don't have to eat it
McDonald's.
all. Obviously,
Like, yeah.
don't. I feed my children. Okay, this is unedited. I'm not editing that out, but I promise you, I feed my children. Um, but in the future, we're going to Italy, and I think that's going to be a really dope. Like, I'm really looking forward to it. I've only been to Europe one time, but I think it'll be really cool to go. I think they're like staying. They want to stay in some. They possibly want to do a cruise and stay in a hotel, whatever. Lizette and I are more like, yo, let's just get a home. Like, we can get
Yeah.
a 10 bedroom or a 6 bedroom home with 10 beds. Ridiculous, like in the middle of like uh, great grapeyard vineyards
Yeah. Vineyards
I
is
said grape yards like graveyards. um Vineyard, and it's like just ridiculous. So I'm like, that'll be really cool to do, but I don't know if we're going to. But however, the one trick that we are going to do is, let's say we stay for 10 days, or they say, hey, we're only going to stay for 9 days. We're going to stay for maybe 10, 11 days and take a trip from Italy to Paris and go to Disney Paris. Yes, that's the
awesome.
third time I've answered Disney in all of my questions, but Disney's fun, dude.
You're 3 for 3 on
I
Disney.
am 3 for 3. I like what it has to offer. I like what that Walt Disney's doing. All right, so
I don't know why this happened, but we're FaceTiming right now while
yeah.
doing this.
Uh huh.
When I said 3 for 3 for Disney,
Uh huh.
a little thumbs down emoji popped up on the phone, and I don't know
Where
why.
did that come from?
I don't know. I
Oh
didn't.
man, that's sad. I
I
like
didn't.
Disney. Disney's
I
fun,
love Disney.
and
I
I
love
think
Disney.
Paris will be really fun. Um, Plus, I have kids, man. Like it's just a different emotion going with your children. Yes, I've done it by myself. I've done it with my I've done it as a kid with my parents. I've done it as an adult with just my wife, and I've done it as an adult with my children. They're all different feelings.
Yeah.
It's a lot more stressful doing it at the stage that I am currently because I'm the one providing the money and providing for 3 other people.
Yeah.
But it's still totally worth it.
Yeah, but at the same time, like and like just out of like kudos to you guys and like you guys know what you're doing. You know when and like how to budget for it.
Yeah.
And like so you do it well. I feel like that's like an important part of that
Well, I
too
mean,
for any
honestly,
vacation.
Airbnbs are great. We barely stay in a place that costs more than $100 a night. We drive down. We've stayed with
Yeah.
friends. We
Yeah.
sometimes go and like that's why we get Airbnb so we can make meals. Like we can bring food. Making a
Yeah.
meal,
You
spending $15 a day for well, not anymore. $15 for one meal as opposed to $15 for
yeah,
one sandwich is totally
going
different.
for a weekend and spending $150 on groceries and eating all your meals at a house versus
Yeah.
eating every meal out, that's gonna save so much money.
Substantial. We've become
Um
pros at it.
uh and like
Kind
that's
of. I owe
even
that all
like
to Lizette. Don't anyone dare
yeah.
think that it's me. Look
But
at this.
even we did
I
that
have toys. I spend my money on toys.
even we did that like for our honeymoon or even a couple years ago, me and Haley's family, we went up to the Poconos and we stayed at this beautiful cabin,
Hmm.
but it wasn't really like a cabin. I mean, it was 100% a cabin, but it had
It was
all
a
the
shed.
amenities.
Oh.
It had like all the amenities and stuff like that. Um, but we took groceries, you know?
Hmm.
We took food, we cooked like whatever. Like there was restaurants and different things we could go out to, but we didn't.
They're
Like
cool for sometimes. Like we know, like all right, today we're gonna eat lunch out, and then
yeah,
like the next day we're gonna go here for dinner. Like we don't do it
you
all the time. We still enjoy the
you
things. Yeah.
find like the specific spots
Yeah.
and you do the specific things and whatever
Especially
and
with kids, sometimes they're not going to eat it anyway. So why should I spend $80 for a meal that they're not going to eat? Life hack, guys.
just
If you got kids, listen up. I just said it. Rewind. Sorry.
just ask them what they want and then
Yeah.
still make a second meal.
And most times, my big one was like, mac and cheese. I'm like, I'm not spending $12 on a bowl of mac and cheese that I can
Yeah,
make here for free. So
for $1.
pretty much. I've already
Uh,
bought it, so it's free. Girl math.
cancel. I for me, like I'm still like developing the idea of like a perfect vacation. I love the idea of like being kind of secluded and like off grid, but also like not too far from things that are fun, like a nice vineyard or a winery or a distillery
But
or
I feel like that's where
whatever.
we live.
But like
Like we live, or at least I live pretty secluded. You're a little more uppity
but
now.
but I mean like when I look outside, I don't see my neighbors.
Got it.
You know what I
So
mean?
like your
Like
parents.
yeah. So like that like almost like I love like the cabins and stuff like that where it almost feels like off grid or like I would go camping for 10 days and be happy, to be honest.
Nope.
No one else I know would, but
Nope.
like but that's why I love like the idea like where we stayed like the Poconos, like where we stayed on our honeymoon, like it felt like the complete middle of nowhere, but
Yeah.
it was in the middle of everything at the same time,
Yeah.
which was awesome. And like I love that. I'm like you said, we're busy people and we're always moving, and I'm really bad at just stopping. I love like looking and seeing that there's nothing there because it forces me to like stop and actually like enjoy like the moment.
Yeah.
Like I'm really bad at like just being in the moment because like I'm like, oh no, I've got to do this, that, and the other. Like, so like I love like when like there's less options of things to do. Not
Mm-hmm.
saying that I don't like. I want to go and like go to the amusement parks and go whatever, go out to eat. But like when it comes like times like to relax, like oh, there's nothing around me. Like
Yeah.
I could go into the sauna or go into the hot tub or go into
The
like
sauna
whatever.
or
Like
the hot tub.
requirement for vacations for me, bro. Every time requirements. Um, and like kind of just like force myself to like shut off and like reset because I feel like that's what I mean. You married her, so
I did. My wife we're
my
talking about,
sister,
right?
yeah,
Okay, good.
my sister vacations are like I need a vacation after vacation with her because
Mm-hmm.
it's the itinerary, the this, the that, the doom 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 doom. Like we're gonna go walk 15 miles through the mall in DC and
Yeah.
cry and get lost and like I love it. Don't get me wrong. I never regret those moments, but like there's never a moment to just do nothing.
Well, so
Eh,
we've kind of
hopefully
worked
she's
that
gotten
in.
better
We've worked that in
over
now.
time.
Yeah.
But
So like it depends on the trip though.
like when we did vacations growing up, obviously that's mainly when I went on vacation with her. It was always like, "Oh, we're going to be here for 4 nights. Then here's 3 full days of activities
mm-hmm.
and the other night is travel." Like
Yeah.
like
We've
so
gotten a
like
little bit better at that. But I mean, unfortunately, I mean, her crazy like we heard something where like your crazy matches my crazy, and I was like, "There's
yeah.
no way," but apparently it does. Like, it would I much rather be doing nothing, 100%, but also I don't regret doing the crazy things.
Yeah, and there's never regrets in it, but, like, for me, like, I feel like for me, like, in an ideal vacation scenario, like, there needs to be a moment of just nothing.
Yeah, well,
Like,
that's
a
what I'm
0 day
hoping
on the
with Italy.
on the
Like,
itinerary.
it depends. If we're doing a cruise, most of it could be nothing. Like, who knows? But also,
Yeah.
I'm low key terrified of going on a cruise. Um,
I wanna do a cruise so bad.
I just feel like
Like, because
now social media
I've
makes
done
it so
I've
popular
done
and like all these
I've
boats
done dinner
crashing and
cruises,
drowning.
you know what I mean? Like, I've done, like, the dinner cruise and, like, 5-hour cruises, stuff
I've
like
done
that.
a,
I've never
I
done, like
think I did a dinner cruise.
never done, like, a cruise, like, I want to so bad. I have, like, one of my friends that she goes on 2 cruises every year.
Jeez.
And she's like, "Yeah, it's the only vacation I'll ever do."
Like I
Yeah.
want it, but also like I don't know, maybe I watch too much YouTube or something. Boats crashing and hitting each
I
other. Like that's
I
crazy, dude.
know, like, it's
There's
crazy.
a whole ocean in front of you and these two boats gotta hit each other. What are you stupid? I don't know. That's just me.
I I don't know.
It's just scary, dude.
I'm not a captain of a ship, so
I don't
I don't
know.
know.
You drove a duck, but you're not a captain of a ship.
I was 17. That was a poor move on his part, alright?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
I
not a cap.
totaled a car, like, 3 weeks before that trip.
Yeah. Welcome to the duck and I'm your captain.
Like, um, but I do wanna do a cruise, like, that's definitely a bucket list vacation.
Yeah.
I just don't know, like, how soon on the bucket list, like, I still got, like, anxieties to work on that one.
Oh yeah, I have some anxieties. I gotta stop watching YouTube and cruise crashes. That's
Well,
probably it.
I mean, before I go on any trip, because most of them involve cabins or being in the woods, I, like, stop watching any movie along those things.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I should say it because Lizette just got here. I hope she can't hear me. But there's a movie called Barbarian starring Justin Long, and I will not talk about it because it will. I liked the premise of it. I liked it a lot, but it could be too close to home to where I shouldn't talk about it because then that'll change all of our vacations, and I'm not willing
Ev
to risk that at the at the risk of my own family safety. But that's an extreme account,
Yeah,
and obviously it's a movie, it's a story, it's fake. I get it,
yeah,
guys. It's not real. I know.
it's in the script.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know.
But, yeah. Vacations, man.
Yeah, I mean, I believe I'm vacation now. After this, I need a vacation. Well, actually, I'm kind of going on a vacation,
I
but
was
it's
gonna
really
say
just
you're
like
like
a
half
2 day trip, and then I'm going to Vegas, which is not a vacation at all. So I'll be away. I'll be on a plane. Does that institute vacation? Constitute vacation?
I think the airport for I mean, I know the last few years you haven't really flown besides Vegas,
Once a year, I take a plane and it's to Vegas.
and growing up, we just learned you didn't really fly much for vacations,
Nope.
and I wasn't an avid flyer. I flew a few times. It is always my least favorite part about any trip.
So once again, we'll talk about my new fears. Um, there have been so many planes recently that just like walls are falling off or doors are opening, and I'm like, that could have been my seat. Like, I
Yep.
never get up. I always get a window seat. I never get up. The only good thing is I'm always wearing my seatbelt. I don't know if that means I'm not flying out the plane. But I guarantee you my bag and my switch are flying out the plane because I'm dropping it and I'm holding onto that chair, praying that that thing is not going out next.
Praying that it's one of the 98% that actually float when it hits the water.
Yeah.
At
And there's
2%
no
don't.
water flying from here to Vegas, sir. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going over the Great Lakes. Just so you're clear.
You ready for
Um,
that oxygen mask to drop
yeah.
down?
I don't think my mom says that I was on a plane once when I was a kid, and that was like the last time she flown. And then the next time I flew was like, I don't know, I might have been 22. Me and my buddies went to Florida. Then me and my buddies went to Vegas for fun, and then multiple trips with my wife. And now I do it once a year. But I've been on a fair amount of planes, and now they don't really scare me.
I think
But it's fine.
last year when I flew to Mexico, like, I was the only one not nervous,
Hmm.
which for the group that I went with was weird because like, I should have been.
Yeah,
Just for the group,
yeah, yeah.
really. But I was, like, the only one not nervous. I was just like, "Guys, worst comes to worst, it's just we're, in like, northern Mexico. It's not like we'll even be that far from people that could, like, 'Oh, my luggage got lost.' I just feel like, just call a couple people. I
I'm
got
not worried about the
family."
luggage. I'm worried about
Like
dying.
I'm like they're like, "Oh, what if the plane goes down?" I was like, "If it goes down, we're so close, we'll probably still be at our destination." Like
Okay, so let me rephrase. I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of hitting, crashing, not dying, and being in tons of pain. Like that to me is like the worst. But these are
Yeah,
all these are all low percentages.
flying's still the safest way to travel,
That's what they say. That's what these pilots tell you.
which I don't know for you if that changes statistics because like, your
No.
car has 12 miles on it, so, like, this is, like, the most travel you do in a while.
I I drive all the time. I drive from here to Florida multiple times a year. So you mean to tell me? I mean, yes, I do think it's the odds are higher of me getting in an accident driving to Florida. Not necessarily when I'm driving. If my wife is listening to this, roasted. But all right, we gotta go. We gotta go because this is gonna get
Yeah,
off
it's just a
topic,
roast
and I'm
and
gonna start roasting people. And this is not what the
roasted.
podcast
It's
is.
good it's gonna turn into Sunday night Mario Kart racing roast.
Well, guys, this is episode 9. Next is episode 10, which we will be performing. I don't know. We will be live on Twitch, March 12th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come hang out, ask us questions. We're gonna be playing silly games like doing impressions of actors, which neither Josh or I can do. So be like, hey, do this guy's voice, and we'll be like, here's our attempt, and it's that's
I'm
what it's
gonna be
gonna
like,
be.
who?
Yeah.
Like
So
he has a voice. Like
yeah, it sounds just like the one I have in my head, but that's
I
how it's
am
gonna go.
doing. I will be doing an Ohio accent.
Nice, Ohioan.
Ohioan.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what they're
uh,
called. I doubt it. I just
nope.
like what they're called.
But I'm looking forward to the live event for that. That's gonna be
It's gonna be
episode
fun.
10.
Yeah,
Um, Definitely come out, check it out, ask us questions right there. We won't really be able to not answer them because it'll be
yeah.
live.
You can just keep typing until we answer it. So I think it'll be
It'll be
fun.
live.
It'd be cool. I don't know if we
Be good.
do it every 10. Maybe do it more often. I don't know. We'll see.
Yep.
But either way, guys, thank you for taking out a large portion of your day/days for hanging out with us. Thank you for hopefully listening to 9 episodes. If not, go back and check them out. Like, subscribe, share, all of that stuff. You
Oh
know,
man.
you know what it is. You hear it from every other video. Why do we need to say it? You already know. You're smart enough, right?
That's why they're here.
That's why they're here. They're smart. They need intellectual conversations.
They're here because they're smart enough to understand they don't need to be told every episode to like, comment,
Exactly.
subscribe,
Yeah.
share
And they're smart
on
enough
this
to not
video.
really have to listen to these two dummies talk for however long we talk about.
How we just go with it.
We do. So, guys, with that being said, once again, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. And as always,
We love you.